And then she watched the video. I love swingers in London. Like, I don't even know. I feel like I can't really think properly. If you play hard to get or you try and make me jealous, I just give up. And we didn't text each other ever again. I can't remember what his name was. And I do not want that in my life. Now this is a good story. He had to like get naked and sneak out the lounge window. She then slapped me across the face and he came to my side. And I was like, what are you doing, mate? Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. We are doing Vlogmas and I just want to start this video by saying that I'm filming this on Saturday night and I'm very, very tipsy. I have been around my mum's house. We are in a bubble, don't worry, and it was my cousin's 30th birthday like celebrations, and we were on Zoom and we did like a big quiz and there were like 20 of us on Zoom. It was amazing. In my giveaway video on the first day of Vlogmas, I asked everyone who entered to ask me a question that I would answer during a Tipsy Q&A. I've got so many questions. So what I have decided to do is ask the ones that are potentially the most juicy. I've decided to answer the ones that are all about my dating life and stuff like that while I'm tipsy, and then save the other ones for a Q&A when I'm sober. So I'm going to do 2 Q&As. So I think we should just get straight into it. I'm filming in my lounge because I normally film in the bedroom. However, because it's like midnight, the person who lives above me obviously has the same setup as me, so their bedroom is above my bedroom and I don't want to keep them up, so I'd rather film in the lounge. So that's what we're doing today. I have written on my notepad the questions. So the first one, let's just get straight into it. A couple of people have asked me, what is the most embarrassing thing that I've ever done? And I'm going to be really honest with you. I don't think I've done anything that embarrassing. Like, I just don't feel embarrassed, really. I feel like sometimes I put my foot in it and said like the wrong thing. But when I think about when I've actually really felt embarrassed, I really don't know. Like, I remember when I was younger, and I went to dance school and I got the bus with a friend and she told me to press the stop button on the bus because it was like nearly her stop, but then it ended up being the stop before her stop, and the bus driver turned around because he pulled over and no one got off, and he turned around and he was like, who pressed that button? La 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 la. And I was like, oh my god, I can't say that it was me because I was really embarrassed, so I didn't. But like, I was embarrassed then, but there's a ticking sound going in my kitchen. I think I might close the doors. So I honestly feel like that was probably my most embarrassing moment. As an adult, I don't really think I've ever necessarily felt embarrassed. Whenever I think about embarrassing moments, I think like, have I ever fallen over in front of someone or something like that? But no, I haven't. I mean, sometimes I probably said the wrong thing, but like, I've never really felt that embarrassed. So I feel like I've gotten off lightly, really, in thinking about that. Someone else asked me, what is the best and worst gift that you've ever received? Best gift I've ever received? Oh, that's such a good question. I almost want to say when my brother gave me a Jamie T CD and it was signed, and he'd ordered it like in August, but gave it to me for Christmas on my birthday, which is in December. I feel like that was really thoughtful. The best gift, I remember like when I was 14, I got my first pair of GHDs. That was really exciting. I've never received anything that I really haven't liked. I mean, there was one year when a friend of mine gave me an eyeshadow palette by Cargo Cosmetics, and I had already filmed that year a video saying how much we didn't like Cargo Cosmetics, like how they weren't a high-end brand, but they were included in Look Incredible boxes, and she hadn't seen that video. And so when I received the eyeshadow palette, I was like, oh, like, that's really nice, thank you, because it's the thought that counts. Like, it was really kind of her, and I thought like it was fine. And then she watched the video and she texted me, I think, and she was like, I didn't realise you didn't like that brand, I'm so sorry. And I was like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. And I think that's the trouble with, like, if you're buying for someone who's really into makeup or really into skincare or something, they know the brands that they like, and yeah, so that's like a shame. But like, obviously, like, I still loved it because she thought of me, do you know what I mean? So, like, I felt bad then. Someone asked, how have I managed to date due to like lockdown and things like that? I have been to parks and met men like that. I meet men online, I talk to men online, and I've had video dates. So I feel like the new thing now is to like have a video date before you have a real date. And during a video date, you know whether like you vibe well, you see what they look like, you see what their mannerisms are when they talk, and you know whether you really fancy them or not, and whether you want to take it to like a real life date. And then I've had dates in like, I've met up with someone in like a park and we've had a walk. I've met someone in a beer garden and we've had a drink, and stuff like that. So like, I feel like you can still date, it's fine. Someone asked, what is my ideal date start to finish? A few people have asked me what like my perfect date is, and then someone asked like the person, where you eat and stuff like that. And for a first date, I'm gonna be honest, like my perfect date is just to go for a drink somewhere. Like, I feel like it's nice and casual, so if you don't fancy them, you can leave kind of early. You can finish your drink and be like, I've got to go. Whereas if you're meeting for a meal, like, you have to wait for the food to be cooked, you have to eat it, etc, etc, and it's just long. And also, like, you're eating in front of someone and you're watching them eat, and I feel like that's a bit weird, if I'm honest. So my perfect first date is literally just something really casual, just go meet for a drink or go to a park and get an ice cream or something weird like that. But when you're like further down the line, I really like mini golf. I love mini golf so much, and I feel like it brings out like a different side of you both. So I feel like that's really fun. I love swingers in London. I feel like they're really cool because they're like mini golf, but also they have a bar, and also they have staff who like come around and ask you what you want to drink, so like you can drink while you're playing mini golf, and I feel like that's really fun. So I really like that. I wouldn't eat on a first date. Further down the line I would eat, but I don't really have a perfect date. And like my perfect man, right, who would be on the date with me, like, I don't even know. I feel like I can't really think properly. But like, I feel like my list for a man is really, really long. Like, when I say to a man, what's your type, like what do you look for in a woman, and they kind of say like one or two things, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then they ask me back and I'm like, I've got a really long list. But like, top of my list, I like someone who's quite confident. Like, they don't have to really love themselves completely, but someone who will happily join in with my family, like who won't necessarily be too intimidated to like go and see my family when there's like over 20 of us and we're having a games night and we're all competitive. Like, I want someone who will kind of fit in with that. I want someone caring. I love men who are affectionate. I've realised that from my last relationship, like, without going into too much detail, but I want someone who's affectionate and who is open and honest about how they're feeling, and they say things like, if they like you, they just say it, and they want to cuddle you and stuff like that. Like, I love that. So I look for that in someone. I'm not into men who play hard to get. I'm the kind of person, if you play hard to get or you try and make me jealous, I just give up, because I don't want to fight for your attention. Like, no, I'm just, that's seriously gonna put me off 100%. So you go do your own thing, mate. Like, I don't have time for this kind of thing. But I like someone who's just open and honest, who's affectionate, who is confident. I like someone, like, this may be weird, but in the last however many years I've been really working on like my mental health, my acceptance of myself and loving myself and doing stuff to help my mental health, and I look for that in someone. When you do like mental health first aid, you compare like someone's mental state and then their, I can't remember the words, but like the tools that they've got. And so like, if you're not practicing help and not reflecting and think about what helps your mental health, you're quite low on the scale. But then if something goes wrong, like, it's fine if nothing goes wrong and your mental health is fine, but then when something does go wrong, it's like, oh shit, like, what do I have to rely on? That kind of thing. So I very much like someone who reflects and thinks about what helps them. I like someone who's got their own interests that are separate to mine. I don't want someone who's into like all the same things as me. What I also have learnt from my last relationship is that I would feel guilty. Like I would feel like I had to spend all my time with that person, and maybe that's like my own like issue, but I want someone who's got their own like interests and they do their own thing and I do my own thing, and we don't feel like we're fighting for attention or we need to talk to each other or anything like that. Like we feel secure. That's what I want, like security. And there's a difference. Like it's not attention. I don't want attention all the time. I just like to feel secure and feel like that's fine. So like if someone's busy, I'd like a text in the morning saying, oh my god, a really busy day ahead, if they know it's going to be busy. I hope you're okay, hope you have a lovely day, thinking of you, that kind of thing. And then I'm like, that's really nice, cool, fair enough. But like if someone doesn't text you at all, and then they're like, and then you're like, hey, you alright? And then they're like, yeah, sorry, I've been really busy. Like that's not okay to me. I want someone who's like going to be almost like proactive and like, do you know what I mean, help you feel secure. With that, you don't need to text me all day every day, but let me know like that you're okay and you're thinking of me. Like that's nice stuff. So that's like my perfect guy. Someone's asked me for my most exciting date, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know if I've got one. Like there's some dates I went on with like my ex-boyfriend, and we did some like really cool stuff together, but like people who I've just dated, not so much, because I'm the kind of person who just goes for a casual drink and we'll see how we feel and we'll see whether we fancy each other, and then we can step it up a bit. But yeah, so not dating wise, but when I've been with someone like in an established relationship, my ideal dates with them are like going to see a musical in London and maybe spending the night in London, or going somewhere nice for dinner, that kind of thing. Like if I think about it, I don't really think that I've had a really exciting date with someone that I've just been dating. I mean, I've done fun stuff. I like to make effort and I like to make things exciting. So like with someone fairly recently, they told me about the Elvis burger, so I was like, why don't we make it one night? Do you know what I mean? So then we did that. Like that was fun. And then I made sure that I had Elvis songs playing on my TV and like just little things like that. But really exciting, I'm not so sure. Someone's asked me for my best and worst date, so I guess that's kind of similar. Like I don't feel like I've had a best date. I've definitely had like a best first date where like we've met for drinks and I've just been like, I like you. Like I can just tell already that I like you, but it's not because of what we were doing or necessarily what they said, but like they just came across so well. I have done a video on my worst date. I'm going to link it down below, but I've got notes on my phone. Let me have a look. For my worst date ever, I literally called it like the date from hell or something like that. Here we go. Let's just give you a summary, but I'm going to leave the video link down below. But my worst date, he didn't look like his photos. He shouted instead of talking to me, and I was already like a little bit embarrassed, like because I didn't fancy him, and he was like shouting like, have you been on Tinder long? Have you had many matches? And like there were people listening and it was so embarrassing. He didn't understand my job. He wanted to live on a farm and I didn't. He seemed very like sexist and just very, what's that word? Misogynistic? Is that the word? I don't know. He had like stalked me on social media and found my YouTube channel. He belittled me for my age. He didn't drive. He was like 34, still lived with his dad and his stepmom, didn't really talk to his mum or his sisters, and he really didn't like them, and he slagged them off a lot, and I was like, this is our first date, I'm not really sure you should be doing that. Just took the piss out of me a lot about my anxiety and stuff like that, and how I'm a woman and women get stroppy and stuff like that, and I was like, mate, okay. And it was just really awkward. And then after the date, he asked me how I found it, and I was like, no, not really. And then he was like, yeah, fair enough, you were uninterested from the start. But anyway, I'm going to leave the video linked down below. I don't feel like I looked the best in that video, if I'm honest, but still, it was still the worst date that I've been on. It was just awful. There was another date I went on, but I can't remember the man's name or anything we talked about, but I remember turning up and being like, I do not fancy you, and we had a drink, and I think I just gave off the vibe like I'm not really into it, and then because he made a bit of effort to begin with, then he stopped, and then it was just really awkward, and then we were like, oh, last drink, yeah, I'm not gonna have another drink, okay, all right, I'm gonna go now, okay, goodbye. And then like that's it, and we didn't text each other ever again. I can't remember what his name was. I can't even remember what he looked like. I remember where we went, but yeah, so there's that. Someone's asked, can you tell us something that you've never admitted before? And honestly, like, I'm not just saying this, but I feel like I've basically admitted everything to at least like someone. Someone has asked, which mystery do I wish that I knew the answer to? And that person also said that they really wish that they knew the answer to the Madeleine McCann case, and I am exactly the same. I feel like because we were kind of young, we were like children or maybe teenagers, I don't know, when that happened, and it was so big in the news and we still don't know. And then because like they've done a documentary on it recently, and they were now like looking for someone else, weren't they? I honestly, like, that is the one thing that I just wish we knew the answer to. I wish we knew what happened to Madeleine McCann. I really do. That's the one thing that I wish that before I die, I know the answer to what happened to her. Because it's just so weird, isn't it? You need to watch a documentary. So yeah, I'm the same. Someone else said, on online dating, what kind of bio would make me stop and look? And that's really interesting. I feel like picture-wise, if you've got all group pictures and I have to try and work out which person is in every photo, I'm not interested because I can't bother to work that out. So if you've got some pictures of you like single, like by yourself in the photo, I like that. I like someone who's got a picture like of, if they're an uncle or something like that and they're like good with kids, or someone who works in education or in emergency services, like that is really attractive to me. I don't like men who type their height out, because like you already have to put your height in your profile, you don't need to type it out. I get fed up of men who are like, oh, I just want a partner in crime to travel the world with. Like, I'm bored of reading that. I just like someone who's a little bit different. So someone who like appears like they're good with kids, even though I'm not sure if I want my own. What else makes me stop and look? I don't like shirtless photos, like topless photos. I'm not into that. I want someone who comes across like they don't love themselves. Like, I don't mean that, no, that sounds wrong, but like I don't want someone who's like really big-headed and like, look at me with no top on, like in the gym. I'm not into that. I don't want someone who's in the gym all the time. What does make me stop and look? I feel like someone who ever says that I feel like men rarely say whether they're into musicals and theatre, if they like singing. So if anyone said anything like that, I'm like, oh yes. If someone says that they want to be a team, I like stuff like that. What else do I like in a profile? Just someone who looks cute. I don't like it when they don't type anything out, because that makes me think that like they haven't made much effort, and so do they really want someone if they haven't made enough effort to like get someone. I like men with pictures in Christmas jumpers. I've had a few of them and I like them very much. Yeah, so there we go. I don't feel like there's anything necessarily specific that I look for, but I like all of that stuff. I just like someone who looks like they've kind of made a bit of effort really in their profile as well, and says what they're into and that kind of thing. And I'm obviously not going to go for someone who's like really into the gym or really into hiking or anything like that. But yeah. Someone else has asked what's my favourite and my worst alcoholic drink. A couple of people have asked me that. My favourite, when we're talking about spirits, I would say my favourite is a Disaronno and Pepsi. And my favourite cocktail is a porn style martini, which is also known as a passion fruit martini. And my worst drink, I do not like gin and tonic. I think that is disgusting. Like, I cannot stand gin and tonic. And tequila, I will do a shot of tequila. Like, I'll do a tequila slammer where it's like salt, tequila, lemon. But I will not ever order a cocktail that's got tequila in the cocktail, because imagine slow drinking tequila. Like, to me that is just disgusting, and I do not want that in my life. Someone said, what age did I first get drunk? Now this is a good story. So I was like 13-ish. I went to a friend's house and she had got her older sister to buy us a bottle of vodka, and we had cokes. We had cans of Coke and we'd open them, and she told me to like drink a bit, and then she topped it up with vodka, and it was very strong. Now it was just us two. We ended up doing like dares, and like you had to like get naked and sneak out the lounge window and like run to a tree and then come back and stuff like that. We also had like a kiss. Yeah. Anyway, I ended up being sick like everywhere. And I wanted my phone to phone my dad to ask him to pick me up, and she was like, no, I'm not giving you your phone. And I was like, yes, give me my phone. I'm drunk, I'm 13, I'm like being sick everywhere, like I need to just be picked up. And I was like, give me my phone. And I started shouting, and her dad woke up. She then slapped me across the face because I was too drunk. And I just started screaming. Her dad came down, was like, what's going on? And then I was being sick everywhere. He then phoned my dad, and my dad came to pick me up, and I was just so drunk. And then her dad said to my dad, she's just not feeling very well, and took me to my mum's house, because my mum and dad had maybe just split up then apparently, but I feel like they were still together, but my mum says they'd just split up. And my mum said that she opened the front door, and my dad was like, apparently she's just not feeling very well, and I was just stood there like this. And she was like, I don't think you're just not feeling very well, I feel like you're drunk. The next day I kept being sick in the toilet, and my mum was like, I don't feel like I even need to punish you, because I feel like you've punished yourself enough because you keep being sick. So you carry on with your day, and I'm gonna leave you to it. And that was it. So I got very, very drunk at 13, was sick everywhere, and that is the story of the first time I got drunk. Someone has asked for my funniest or most awkward date. And I feel like I'm going to have to relay back. I feel like the most awkward was when I wasn't into this guy, and he picked up on the fact that I wasn't into him, and then we were just like, oh, it's fine, and we never text each other ever again. My funniest date, one guy, we'd been texting, oh yes, and we were going to do mini golf, and then so I picked him up. Oh my god. I picked him up, right, who was shorter than he said he was, and like height doesn't bother me, but it's like when people lie, that bothers me. So he was shorter than he said he was. He dressed like he wanted to be some kind of gangster. He had chains around him and stuff like that, and we had agreed something like whoever loses has to get a kiss from the other person. So basically whether you won or lost, like you were gonna get a kiss. Anyway, mate, honestly, I did not fancy him at all. We did the mini golf. We were walking back to my car. I got to my side of the car, the driver's side, and he came to my side. And I was like, what are you doing, mate? And he's like, oh, I don't know who won, I can't remember. He was like, I get a kiss. And I was like, no you don't. And he was like, yeah, come on, it's the rules. And I was like, no you don't. And it was so awkward. Like, we had my door, I'd opened the door so that the door was in between us. And he was like, yeah, come on, come on, come on. And I'm like, nope. And it was so awkward, and then I had to take him home. So I feel like that was kind of funny, but I don't know. That was really awkward. And he still comes up nowadays on dating apps, and also one of his friends does, because he's got a friend who's kind of hot, and then I go through his photos and then I see that guy in them, and I'm like, oh no, I can't do that. So yeah. Someone has asked who my celebrity crush was when I was younger and who my celebrity crush is now. When I was younger, like my first celebrity crush was Gareth Gates. What was he on? Pop Stars Rivals, Pop Idol, something like that. I really fancied him, and Leonardo DiCaprio. And honestly, the guy who I used to see when I was 16 looked like Leonardo DiCaprio. Like, every time I see a Leo film, I'm like, that looks like you know who. Who's my celebrity crush now? I feel like it was Tom Hardy for a long while, and then everyone started fancying Tom Hardy, and you know when you're like, hold on a minute, he was mine first, like I picked him first, how dare you all just jump on the bandwagon. So like, is it still Tom Hardy? I don't know. I feel like I don't have a celebrity crush right now. It was David Beckham when I was a bit younger. Someone asked me in my giveaway, what is my favourite Bible verse? And I'm going to be very honest with you. I am not religious. I do not know any Bible verses off by heart. Someone has asked, when would I introduce a boyfriend to my family? Like, how long would I have to be seeing them for? And I thought that was quite an interesting question. I feel like you see each other for like 2 months or so before you become official, right? And I feel like once you become official, maybe in the next couple of weeks I would tell my family about it, and then probably introduce them to my family like a month into the relationship, because I probably wouldn't wait any much longer if possible. I do feel like it's kind of important to see how they vibe with your family, but at the same time, whether my mum liked him or not, like, would not influence whether I like him or not, because it doesn't really matter to me, because I do feel like my mum doesn't really know me that well and what I like in a man and what my relationships are like, so like I don't have any influence, but I would like to just see what they're like with my family and how they react, and you know, how they are with my family. So I would say after a couple of months you become official. Once you're official, like a month into it, a month into it, yeah. I feel like I probably wouldn't go like over a month without introducing them to someone. Yeah. Someone has asked, what is the craziest thing that you've done while tipsy? And if it wasn't being 13 and snogging a girl at my school, I don't really know. I'm gonna have to have a think about this, but I feel like I'm a bit tipsy now, so like, can I think about it? Oh my god. To be honest, like, I don't feel like I've done that much stuff while tipsy. Like, I don't feel like I've done anything that crazy. I definitely went through a phase where no matter how much I drank, I was always sick during the night. Like, it always happened even if I wasn't drunk. And so we'd get a taxi home and I'd have to tell the taxi to pull over so I could be sick, and then I'd get back in the taxi to then like carry on the journey home. What else? I feel like that's probably it. Like, I've always been quite like good at like having a few drinks. I've always been friends with people who are a bigger lightweight than me, especially when I was like a teenager in like early 20s, and so I felt like I always played the mother role. Except there was one night when I was living in London for uni, and I had just changed some medication that I was on, and I had gone out for drinks, and I had 2 drinks and they got to me. I was being sick in the nightclub. It was this amazing nightclub, I can't remember what it was called, but it had like a drama, you know those drama masks, like as chairs, and they had a 90s section. What was that called? That was such a good club. Anyway, I was being sick in there. The ambulance came and got me. I spent a night in like their kind of like makeshift, it wasn't a hospital, it was just where the drunk people went to kind of get over their drunkenness, and I just stayed there until I sobered up a bit. That's really bad, isn't it? But I don't really feel like I've done that much bad stuff while being tipsy. Maybe like, you know, stuff with a partner, but still like not that bad. So yeah, I don't really feel like I've got many good stories. That's really bad, isn't it? And then the last one that I thought would go into this like part of the Q&A is Someone asked me, is having a video date as a first date, is it more easy or awkward than having a first date in person? And I find that that's a really good question, and I hope that I can answer you all right. I personally feel like a video date puts a lot less pressure on you. You can see them, see their mannerisms, see what they act like, see what you talk like and vibe like together, without going and making effort to drive somewhere, to get a taxi somewhere, to pay for a drink, pay for a meal and that kind of stuff. And without feeling like you're trapped. Like, you can have your little video call, you can pretend you've got rubbish signal, you can pretend that there's something going on and you have to go. There's like a lot of excuses that you can have. I feel like there's less pressure, you're not with them face to face. I will say, like, a video date is like one step towards a first date. So if you like them on the video date, like, you should meet them, because when you meet them, you know, like, what you are actually like together, because a video date might not necessarily show that, or they might always point it at like a really good angle of them and like where they look really nice, but actually in real life, I don't know, that's never happened to me, but do you know what I mean? But definitely during lockdown I had a lot of video dates, and some men who I had video dates with, I was like, oh my god, no, I'm really sorry. Even like phone calls, because I make it a rule, it's always been a rule of mine, that before I go on an actual physical first date with someone, we have to have a phone call first. But now, where it's been like coronavirus this year, I've kind of adapted that rule and been like, if we were ever going to meet in person, we need to have a video date or a phone call at first, because you hear their voice, you get to know whether you vibe well and all that kind of stuff. And like, I feel like it's so important. I have never been on a first date with someone that I haven't had a voice note, a phone call, a video call off of before. I feel like also I dated a lot of people, and so I'm more, I don't know what the word is, less likely to put my all into it maybe, unless I really get a good vibe from someone. Whereas I've got friends who are only just starting their dating life after breaking up with someone or whatever, and they talk to one person and then that's the only person they talk to, and then they meet them and then they're like, oh, I don't really like him, or they really like him and then it goes wrong and then they're devastated. Whereas I feel like that doesn't really happen to me anymore, because I've got so used to dating that I almost expect things to go wrong and I expect things to be bad. But I feel like that puts me in a good position, because I don't necessarily get heartbroken unless like we've been seeing each other for a while. But at the same time, I am very much like, I'm talking to someone at the moment who's like, can't wait to meet you, like, you're so beautiful and all this kind of stuff, and I'm like, just wait till you meet me. Like, I'm very much like, I don't like to get my hopes up about the other person, I don't want them to get their hopes up about me. I just feel like you can't invest until you've met. So even if you've had like a video call, I still feel like you should meet. But I do feel like a video call is maybe less awkward. It depends though, because you might find it a bit awkward because you see each other on a screen and you're just like, hi, how are you? But I do feel like I can kind of talk for England and I can make a conversation out of anything and ask really random questions. But in person, you might be a bit more comfortable. I do think it depends, but I do think a video date, like, you're investing less in a video date, and so I feel like you might feel more comfortable doing that. So there we go. They are all the questions that I'm going to answer tonight. I will answer some more. I've got a lot more, to be honest, but I just thought it'd be better as like 2 shorter videos rather than one really long one where you're like waiting to hear whether your question gets answered or not. So this is all I'm going to answer for tonight. I need to take my makeup off and just get into bed, honestly. I'm so tired. I've had a lovely evening. Thank you very much for everyone who sent me questions. I honestly love answering them. I feel like I'm sobering up while I'm talking to you. I wonder, tell me if you notice a difference in my mannerisms in this video compared to other videos. I wonder if I act any different. Let me know. But thank you so much to everyone who asked me a question. If you ask me a question that hasn't been answered tonight, it is going to be answered in my next video, don't worry. So thank you, and thank you for watching this video as well, because it means so much to me. Like, it just seems like a weird concept, like doing a tipsy Q&A, you know? But like also I feel like it means when I'm a bit tipsy I have less kind of barriers up and I'm a little bit more open. But yeah, I'm so tired. Oh my god, I could fall asleep here right now. I have got 6 minutes of recordings like available on this memory card, so I really need to go. But I hope you're all okay. Thank you so much for watching this random video. I hope it's okay when I edit it. Bloody hell. But thank you, and I will see you tomorrow, I'm sure, in my next one. Bye.